And recording is in progress.
Cool.
All right. So what's the date today? The 21st. We're 4 days
20,
after Christmas.
I think, yeah, 21st.
And I think this is a topic long overdue
Mm-hmm.
of grocery shopping. And I
Yeah.
think one of the biggest tricks we run into people is they say, I can't stop eating X. Right? They say, man, I can't stop eating pizza. I'm like, well, why are you buying pizza at the store?
Yeah.
Or I can't stop eating those cookies. Well, why are you buying cookies at the store? And this is also another important reason to have a very good and like very supportive partner.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, don't make me get on my high horse on husband, wife, partner sabotage. Right? Like how many
Yeah.
times have we seen the mom really trying to bust her butt trying to lose weight and the dad really likes to bring home Sundays from Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We've seen that all the time or just isn't very supportive. But grocery store shopping, I think, is a bigger thing than what we sometimes give it credit for.
For sure. And we like talked about this too. Like, I never thought of this as a huge issue because I grew up in a household where grocery shopping was done in a very healthy way for the majority. We had like some snacks in the fridge and in the pantry, but most of the time, grocery shopping was done in a very healthy way. My mom's a really good cook, and so growing up with her in the house, I was very used to cooking. Like,
Mm-hmm.
being a bad cook to me is not something, it's like a foreign concept. My brother's really good at it, I'm really good at it, my dad's really good at it. So
You grew up in a family that cooked.
yeah, yeah. Even,
So
I mean, I
you
had
cook.
sports. Yeah, I had sports 5 days a week, and like, I would say of 21 meals, maybe three of them were eaten out.
Wow. So there's a key there for parents out there.
Yeah.
If you learn to cook and create an environment of cooking and preparing your own food, guess what? Your kids will too.
100%.
Because here's one of the things Mike Wines has talked to me a lot about because I've been on a lot of calls with him lately. I would say that me and you are in separate generations, maybe, right? You're younger generation,
Yes.
way younger
You're
generation,
like 20
right?
years older than
Yeah,
me.
I'm 46, you're 27, right?
Almost 27. Yeah.
Almost 27. So like I have worked with a lot of clients who are 27, 28, 29. They now have babies and they still have no clue how to prepare their own food because they grew up in a culture where most of the food was in bags, boxes, ordered out.
Yep.
We didn't go to the grocery store and buy food.
Yeah.
I think my generation might be the last generation that really did a lot of that.
Hmm.
Right. So part of the education we do in our coaching program that I've done lately and been a lot more pushy with is teaching people how to prepare foods. That's why I think your recipes are so popular.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
almost teaching people how to prepare their own food in their mid 20s to early 30s. I'm teaching a lot of that generation how to just basically prepare their own food.
I'm teaching my clients that are in their 50s. Like, I had a phone call right before this with a client, and she's like, I just don't even know what seasonings and spices to use because I don't know what they taste like. Because she was asking me, I'm really sick of chicken. Um, I can't I can't find a meat right now that I really want to eat, like as a protein source.
Yeah.
And so I asked her, I was like, well, we're really limited in the animals that we eat that are normal, I guess. Like, most people really stick to like chicken, turkey, beef, um, and
Fish.
pig. Yeah,
Fish.
fish too. But other than that, like, unless you hunt or you like different tasting meats, like, you don't really go after deer and bison and quail, like, you kind of just stay to the normal stuff. So I asked her, what seasonings do you use? Because a lot of the time it's going to come down to how you prepare it so you don't get sick of it. And she
Yeah.
was like, well, really only salt, pepper, and garlic. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you could make a piece of chicken taste totally different if you went after things like cumin or cayenne or paprika or anything like that. It just had a different flavor profile. So we talked a lot about that too, and what spices like go really well with different protein sources.
Sure.
That to me was amazing too, because I was like, my mom is just queen of like throwing shit in based on
Yeah.
taste.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I learned to cook. So I know what most of those spices taste like. So
So if we get down to, if someone listens to this video, we want them to learn how to navigate the grocery store,
yeah,
right? And how to buy foods. And what I'm probably going to do too is I keep a notes in my phone of my grocery list,
yeah,
right? And I eat pretty plain. I eat pretty plain and normal. I don't eat a lot of variety, which Mike will tell you is not a good thing. But number one, how to prep before you go shopping.
yeah.
So what
So,
I personally do is I create a list on my phone
hmm,
of what I want and what I need. Um, and I really try to stick to that list without getting emotional at the grocery store,
yeah,
right?
eat before you go to the grocery store. Don't go on
Yes.
an empty stomach.
And that's a huge tip, right? Eat before you go to the grocery store. Go to the grocery store, and I try to really stick to my list because if it's not on my list, then it's usually an emotional buy.
Yeah,
Because when I go to Publix and I walk into Publix, the first thing we walk through is the bakery store, and there's blueberry muffins and cakes and pies all over the place. And if I'm not prepared for it, I'm probably buying muffins,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I also shop Instacart a lot.
Hmm.
So I have food delivered, and Instacart keeps your grocery list.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't know they
Yeah.
did that. That's really nice.
So it goes to previously bought, and it gives you all your suggestions of what you bought in the past. And I would say 70% of what we buy every week is probably about the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Wouldn't you say?
For sure. Creature of habit, for sure.
So I'm going to say the number one thing I do is I create a list and I try not to deviate from that list.
Yeah.
And then I think in my head, I go, okay, what is breakfast? What is lunch? What is dinner? What are my snacks? And I write my food list by breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
awesome.
purchase.
That's the biggest part is preparing for when you go to the grocery store. So I too many people go to the grocery store without a list written down. And so then you're literally majority of the time buying like snacky items
Mhm.
versus things that you actually need. And then
In
you
a
get home
box.
and yeah, and you get home and you have all of these like snack foods, but you don't have anything that actually makes a meal.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, that's the biggest part is determining what do you want to buy, what kind of meals are you making, be prepared. Like going into the grocery store with an actual list and an idea of what you want to make, it takes a little bit of time, but it is so worth it. And I
Mm.
know like at the bottom of our list, I have written on there, if shopping for 7 days is really stressful, shop for 3, shop for 2. Sometimes I go to the grocery store every day just because I'm like, I want to spend 10 minutes in there just getting something for today.
Yeah.
If you have the liberty to do that, break it up into smaller sections for
Yeah.
sure.
I shop by week.
Yeah.
I shop weekly. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I shop weekly. I think a majority of people that I know, hey, go to a grocery store at Sunday about 5 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
and you'll go insane.
Yeah.
Right. So I think a lot of people do weekly. So for the number one tip for preparing, would you say it's create a list?
Yeah. Write your list down for sure.
Okay.
That's prep work. Big things on there I like to always include are like what kind of meals are you making? How many meals are you making? What are the staple foods that you need for the week? Something that I do try to shop for is I try to plan around the same kind of maybe like rice or quinoa or pasta or something. I try to use that throughout the week in multiple meals. That
Mhm.
way I'm not spending too much money at the grocery store. So say I plan to do like quinoa as my carb staple. I'm like, okay, well, I'll have quinoa as a side one day. I'll have quinoa in a salad another day. Maybe I'll put quinoa in like a soup or something like that. So I'm trying to keep the same ingredients for the most part, but I might change up how I cook it.
So I shoot for 6, 7, 8 servings of fruits and vegetables a day.
Yeah.
And I buy bags of frozen vegetables. They're
Perfect.
3.5 servings.
Yeah.
So I know I need about 5, 6, or 7. I need 7 or 8 of those a week
Yeah.
with a couple bags of frozen fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my fruit and vegetables for the week. And so if you just
Yeah.
divide it by 7, I'm getting 6, 7 servings of fruits and vegetables a day.
Yeah.
Um, I'm buying protein that are very easily cooked, like done in a pan, like ground
Yeah.
turkey, ground beef, even ground chicken.
Yeah.
Um, get an Instapot. It's 17 minutes
Yeah.
to cook enough chicken for everybody in your neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah. Same with
Right.
like utilize an air fryer, utilize your crock pots or Instapots, things like that. It's okay to grab things out of convenience that are just a little bit easier. Another good way, if you don't want to do the frozen option, is buy a bundle of vegetables at the beginning of the week and meal prep them. If you have a little bit of extra time, chop them up, roast them in the oven, and then put them in the fridge until you're ready to eat them. That's a really good way to do it.
So
Um,
create a list that's 70 to you brought something up before we recorded. Create a list that's 70 to 80% fruits and vegetables and proteins.
yeah. So
And
if you apply the plate rule or the 80/20 rule into your tracking, I also apply that into my grocery shopping. So the plate rule is 75% of your plate is fruits and vegetables and protein. And the 80/20 rule is 80% of your day is fruits and vegetables and protein. And then the other remaining 20 to 25% are things like your carbohydrates, maybe a couple snacks that you might want. Maybe if you like ice cream or something, you put that in there. That's totally fine in moderation. But your 20%, the minority, would be your other stuff
yeah,
besides your whole foods. Um, but I think applying that to your refrigerator, to your shopping, I mean, that's going to just ensure that majority of your intake is coming from whole foods.
sure, sure. So if we're moving on and we go,
Well, I was going to add one more thing to the
but
prep work. I think this is really important. And I actually, if you're in our group, I attached a list of items from Trader Joe's because I know a lot of you shop at Trader Joe's. It's really important to go ahead and determine the things that you like to eat and see if there's a better option
mm,
that's more macro friendly.
mm,
This might take you going into the grocery store and spending a little bit of extra time in there one day and really getting familiar with the labels at your store. But there are plenty of higher protein, lower calorie, lower fat, lower carb, whatever you might need. There are plenty of options that are going to fit your shopping list a little bit better than buying, something that you might be accustomed to. So, like for example, I know Dave's Killer Bread is a really good option if you're looking for more protein, but you like to enjoy sandwiches or bagels or bread or whatever it may be. Just finding those options to help you meet your macronutrients is going to be a lot better off than just grabbing, whatever you're accustomed to that's not very macro friendly.
I've recently done that with granola. Found a high
Yeah.
protein granola.
Yeah. It makes a huge
So it's
difference.
just a 60 grams of carbohydrates and 5 grams of protein granola.
Mm-hmm.
I found a granola that's higher in protein that helps you
Yeah.
meet those needs because the majority of people don't eat enough protein. Right. We know,
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
right? I think that's a really good idea to find, going from like a processed food tortilla to a low carb wrap.
Yeah.
Right. Um, I see it happening too with things like ground turkey, 93.7 ground turkey versus an 85.15,
Yeah.
maybe a leaner ground turkey with less fat in it, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
there are tons and tons and tons of those options. Yogurt is another one, moving from
Yep.
regular yogurt to Greek yogurt. Like
Yep.
some of the Greek yogurts now, 16, 17, 18 grams of protein in a cup.
Tons.
Like,
Yeah.
great. Move from yogurt to Greek yogurt, right?
Yeah.
Um, if you're a dairy person, moving from milk to Fairlife milk, right?
Yeah.
Things like that. So I think there are tons of options that you spend in the grocery store, you can find
Yep.
better options, right?
Absolutely. And you can, like, before you even shop, if you have a couple extra minutes at home, all the grocery stores have majority of their products on their website.
Mm,
Get to know their website. Like
mm,
I know Publix says this. I know this how I built the Trader Joe's when I don't have a Trader Joe's in Montana, so I built it literally on their website.
yeah.
Get to know their website. It's I promise that prep work pays off because you don't have to do it again. You do it once. So
How to navigate the actual grocery store. So we all hear the cliche of shopping around the edges, right?
yeah,
I mean, I think that still matters, right?
for sure.
If I was a grocery store and I was like trying to trick people, what I would do is I would start putting the high dollar stuff on the edges, right? Like, because we hear so much on like shop around the edges, because what's around the edges, right? Um,
So
meats,
yeah, produce, dairy,
produce,
yeah,
dairy, fruits and
yeah, Whole
vegetables,
Foods. Your whole foods are typically
Yeah,
on the edges.
your more whole foods are around the edges,
But now
right?
alcohol is too.
Oh, is it? So exactly. See, they're getting smart, right? So usually the aisles is what? Things in a box, chips, um, macaroni and cheese,
Yeah.
all the stuff that's kind of processed foods over time, right?
Hmm.
So I think shopping around the edges is still ideal.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
I actually, and this is probably not very um time sensitive. I shop based on breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Yeah.
So I walk in, buy all my breakfast stuff, walk in, go, then I go around, buy all my lunch stuff, then I go buy all my dinner stuff, and then I grab any little snacky quite type of stuff I want as snacks, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
probably not super convenient, right? I do miss COVID having the lines. Remember the arrows in COVID that kind of made you
I
go?
hated that shit.
I loved it. It created
I hated
structure and
it because
organization.
the grocery store is literally my happy place. It is like my favorite place in the world. I like to peruse. I spend 45 minutes easy in the grocery store. Like I freaking love it in there because there's so many things, there's so many options, there's so much good
You
stuff.
don't
And I'm
like
like,
rules. You don't want the rules of telling you what how to
no,
navigate.
I want to peruse. I want to
Yeah.
take my time, you know? And I will tell you this, I count my grocery store visit as a walk because I am walking the whole time in
Wow.
there.
Okay.
And if I'm spending 30 to 45 minutes, I'm at least getting a mile.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, but no, in the majority, follow the parameter, like shop on the outside. But also, I think something that's really important, don't be afraid to be ballsy in your shopping. Don't be afraid to grab stuff that you're not familiar with. I know we talked about this earlier. I'm seasonings, spices, different dressing, sauces, whatever that are lower calorie that can make your food taste entirely different than what it is like as a bland source. Don't be afraid to buy it. Go on to Instagram or Pinterest or whatever and look up different recipes. Don't be afraid to try them. I think that's the biggest thing in being more confident in your grocery store experience is just trying more things. Get familiar with them. Don't be afraid to mess them up. Don't be afraid that they might taste like crap. Be ballsy.
Yeah.
Experiment with more stuff.
Yeah. I find more women I work with really care more about the taste, the food, and the preparation and the presentation.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the guys can go ground beef, rice, green beans, salsa, fork,
Yeah.
right? And just smash it,
Yeah.
right? But part of this process is sustainability, right?
Right.
And if sustainability means being creative with your food, I had somebody once tell me that people eat with their eyes first. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if that matters for me because my food looks horrible. But but I think if you want to sustain long-term health, wellness, and fitness, and you are a food person, you better learn to cook and prepare healthy foods regularly,
Yeah.
right?
For sure.
And if you don't, you're going to start hating the food, you're going to start hating the process, and you're going to quit. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a huge piece of sustainability.
Right.
And we know based on research, the number one reason people fail at nutrition, diet, wellness plans, whatever you want to do, is because they don't stick to the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And if having creative, healthy foods is part of you sticking to the plan, then you better learn how to prepare tasty foods. If you do
Yeah.
not care about it, go to it.
I will say too, I think you can kind of compare this. I mean, it's definitely a part of your journey, and like you're going to start seeing results in your body when you start working out. Like you're going to start seeing your physique change. Something is that is equally as satisfying to me is learning to cook really, really well.
Hmm.
I used to just do like basic, I mean, in college, you cook like quesadillas for every meal because it's easy. Watching my cooking evolve to something that I think is actually really good, like I
Yeah.
think I'm a very good cook, that has been such a cool process for me. And it has gotten to the point now where I use it as a love language. Like I like to cook for other people. I like for people to experience it. I love to share my recipes. Like being proud of something that you do will encourage you to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So cooking is a part of this journey in that way.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally get that, right? Um, I mean, you really do cook foods that you can tell that you put time into cooking foods, right? Um, any other grocery store tips as far as trying to stay
Um,
away from anything in a box, try to stay away from anything in a bag?
yeah, I think the biggest one is try to schedule it, like make it a part of your routine. So this is one that's really helped a lot of my clients. Try to go on the same day at the same time every single week
Hmm.
if you can schedule it in that way, because again, it just becomes a part of your routine. It becomes like an appointment like you have at the gym. If you're going sporadically, it doesn't always become as important. But
Mm-hmm.
if you can, if you, even if you go 2 or 3 times a week, if you can still be like, hey, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm going to go at 10 a.m., perfect. Make it an appointment, put it on your schedule, write it down, like make that. It is absolutely a priority to have food in your house that is healthy and that is good for you and that you want to keep eating. So make that an appointment, you know?
If you're a very
Um,
busy person, and after this too, we'll touch on a little bit about what I've heard back from people who have multiple children, kids, and shopping, right?
yeah.
Use your Instacart. I
Mm-hmm.
used to be afraid of it. And I think during COVID, I learned to use Instacart. And it's been huge where like I will be doing cardio at the gym on Instacart, order food, like do my food list, enter it, and the bags are sitting at my house when I come home.
Yeah.
Right. I think also if you order online and do Instacart, it keeps you away from that emotional buying
Mm-hmm.
because you have that the list of frequently purchased foods, and ice cream isn't one of them. Cake isn't one of them, right? You're not buying those every week. So I
Right.
think there is a value to ordering online because you're not tempted by that. If you're somebody who wants, and I know a lot of people that want to go touch, feel their food and see it and get it, especially if you're buying a lot of produce, right? I still go to the store. So I do an Instacart shop and I go
Yeah.
to Publix.
Yeah.
Publix is smaller. It's a smaller
Yeah.
order. My Instacart order is huge, right?
Yeah.
A Publix is closer because like when I buy like fresh fruit or like spinach and lettuce and things like that or whatever, like produce, I don't trust Barry from down the street, you know,
Yeah.
picking up multiple orders, lettuce being one of them, and what he's doing with it and where it is and what he picks.
Yep.
So call me crazy, right?
No, I completely agree. I think that's you have to find what works best for you. Absolutely. But make that a habit. It is something that has to be, again, an appointment, a habit, consistent, you know.
So if we're
Other than
looking,
that, I think the only other thing I put on there was just having a couple backup options in the freezer, having your frozen vegetables, having like they make plenty of those little bowls now that are high protein, high vegetable. They're kind of high in sodium, but if you're only having them every so often, that's fine. But there's going to be times where you're out of town or you've had a long work day and you're feeling like tired and you don't want to cook or anything like that. So always have a couple backups in the freezer of easy stuff.
so if we're
Um,
looking at miscellaneous tips, okay, here's one thing that I have for parents out there who shop for kids. Okay, I shop for myself and then I shop for my kid. I even keep it in my house separate
yeah,
from when I keep it for my kid. Like I have all the food for my kid in one area of the fridge and in the pantry, and one area for me in the fridge and in the pantry. It's separate foods. Those are his foods. It helps with temptation because I'm not a sweet person. I'm like a salt person, like a fat
yeah,
salt. Like I don't crave the sugar sweet pastry type donuts or
yeah,
anything. But like I'll mash through a bag of Doritos if he has them in there, right? Like goldfish,
mm-hmm.
Doritos, things that my kid likes
Cheez
to have.
Its.
Cheez It. Oh my goodness, are you kidding?
Oh, extra toasty.
Like they make those extra cheesy ones now, those extra
Yeah,
cheesy Cheez Its, and I'm just like, right? Like I'll smash those things, right?
yeah, same, same.
Um, so I try to keep it. So if you're a parent, shop separate from your goals versus your kid. Put them in the house different than from your kid. That really helps with discipline. Really helps with snacking. Not only that, like when I buy single serving things for my kid, like I buy yogurts for my kid, and I know that he eats them in his breakfast lunch every day, and that means I need five of them.
Yeah.
I'll buy five of them
Yeah.
because if I smash three of them, my kid now doesn't have yogurt for lunch for 3 days. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like there's
Yeah.
that mental trick you play in yourself, right?
Hmm.
And those are his. That's his. It's single serving stuff that he has to have for lunch. So I don't eat it, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm a boredom eater.
Same. Working
Are
from home
you?
has been the worst for that.
I will eat out of just like, huh.
You need a dopamine hit. That's what it
That's
is.
what it is. Yeah.
You need a sense of it of excitement. I'm the same way. Like I can't allow myself to get bored. I can't allow myself to sit for too long because I'm gonna crave something. And food a lot of the time will help that.
Yeah. I'm
So
now
that's
not eating 2 hours before I go to bed
yeah.
for sleep and digestion. And they say improved growth hormone, testosterone release, and melatonin.
Yeah.
So like I'll eat it like until like 8:30. And I know since I'm focusing on sleep right now, as you yawn,
Yeah.
I'll go to bed at 10:30. I'll know that I can't eat between 8:30 and 10:30. And that's been actually really good for me, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
That's
for
been
sure.
really good for me to not eat
Yeah.
it. Other miscellaneous tips I think for grocery shopping. Um, what have we not covered?
I don't know. I think
Most people are tempted. How can we fight temptation at the grocery store, right? How many people walk down that aisle and, you know, first off, grocery people are like grocery places are smart, right?
oh yeah.
How they set up their grocery store. Like, remember, I'm a cynic, I'm a skeptic 24/7. I think everything's a scam.
That and marketing for different brands. Marketing is literally supposed to draw you into certain
Yeah.
brands. I am guaranteed going to pick something that looks prettier than something else. Like
Yeah.
my hot honey sauce I bought the other day, the label of it, I was like, I'm obsessed with this. I have to have it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
But
a
it's true.
salsa I like. I bought a salsa one time because the label looked cool.
Exactly. I'm like, that
Yeah.
just
And now
looks
I feel like
cool.
I now feel mad that I got mind tricked like that. Like I'm like, right.
Yeah.
Um, I think the most important thing, if we're going to start really wrapping things up, create a list and stick to your list.
Yep.
Schedule grocery shopping like an appointment.
Yep.
Buy according. Here's one thing else. Here's another tip that I got from somebody else. Um, it's a friend of mine that loves to cook. They cook for her and her husband and her kid all the time. She plans out dinners for the week and shops according to the dinners.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
she's a foodie. The family's a foodie. They all like to sit down and eat at the end of the day.
That's what I'm
She'll say,
saying.
hey, this is what I'm cooking breakfast. This is what I'm cooking for dinner Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then
Yep.
she'll only cook dinners based on that and she'll shop accordingly to that.
Exactly.
I thought that was a really good tip, right?
Yeah.
Um,
That's pretty much how I do it. Is I
it's
plan the
on
dinner
yours.
ahead of time and shop based on what I need.
Use the online version, use Instacart, things like that. That's been huge for
Mm-hmm.
me for buying extra trips or buying
Yeah.
extra foods. Another trick, create a budget.
Absolutely.
Create a grocery budget. To me, grocery here's there's a couple things that I will always work extra for. That's food and air
Mm-hmm.
conditioning. I say that all the
Yeah.
time. HVAC and food. I'll find a second job.
I literally don't ever care what my grocery bill is. I'm just like, I needed
Because I
all of
prioritize
this.
that food, right? I prioritize it, right?
I'm gonna eat it.
Create a budget.
Yeah.
Create a weekly budget. And I'm telling you, that'll also help with discipline because
Absolutely.
you'll spend 40, 50, $60 extra a week on trash, on
Right.
absolute foods that are garbage that you'll never do, right?
Yep.
And also compare and contrast that to a budget for going out to eat.
Right.
I'm telling you, if you shorten and create a budget for going out to eat and shorten that budget, you'll purchase your grocery store will grow, bill will grow, but your cost per meal will be decreased greatly. I
Right.
had a friend of mine that actually did this for a month. They didn't go out to eat. They went to the grocery store and they saved money on their nutrition plan. 1,000% saved
Yeah.
money on their nutrition plan because they
100%.
only ate from home foods for a month. Right? Oh, my grocery bill's so high. They were spending like $200 a month going out to eat.
Yeah,
And because they didn't bring their food with them to work. So he started bringing
exactly.
food to work, a snack, eating at home, eating breakfast before they left. Actually, this person would get up in the morning, go to work, and eat breakfast at work at 9 o'clock, which is fine, right?
Yeah,
But start creating a budget, I think, is huge for your grocery store, right?
absolutely.
And compare and contrast that to your going out to eat. I'm telling you, you want to shop more in the grocery store, start tracking how much you eat out. It'll blow your mind how much
Absolutely.
we spend eating out, right? It's crazy.
It
So
is.
I think those are three really good things. We're coming down to 2 minutes left. We will connect. You made a food guide or a
Yeah.
shopping guide. We'll have in
Yep.
this email. If you're reading this like on our social, I'll have a link. If you're reading it through our emails, we'll have a link. If you're reading it through our blog, we'll have a link to go into our website and get her shopping guide. I do see in 2023, this is going to be a bigger thing for us.
100%.
Grocery shopping.
Yeah, I've had plenty of clients ask me to help them do it. So I think we'll probably dive more into making you guys confident grocery
Yeah.
shoppers.
I think confident grocery shoppers.
Yeah.
I've been scouring the internet. If anybody knows anybody who did this, I've been scouring the internet, and Gray can do this. Gray's got wears multiple hats here. We have a big project coming up after the first of the year that we're going to get launched. If somebody can find me a healthy cooking chef that we could even do some content with,
Their Instagram has a trillion of them.
find somebody that we like. It's got here's the key. It's got to be somebody that we like.
Well, it got to be somebody that you like.
Yeah, fine. But somebody like that, I've been scouring because man, there is a market for people out there who can teach people. I mean, my clients are now on All Gray's email list because she sends out foods because they love it. Right. So we're about to run out. Let's ending this video. If you got questions, we'll give all our contact info here and we'll move on. Thank
Bye
you.
now.